Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Mountaineer Park here on Sunday. It is the 3rd of August, 2025. Gonna look at the featured eighth race for Mountaineer, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kit 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I mean it around the world. Let's look at the featured eighth race for Mountaineer, which is the West Virginia Derby. It's a grade 3 event going for a $400,000 purse. Race for 3-year-olds here. 8 horses are going 1,800 meters or about a mile and eighth on the Mountaineer main track. Going to take as a top selection here the number 4 horse Chunk of Gold. We're going to go 4-5-2-8 in the superfecta. 4-5-2-8 Super, top selection 4 horse Chunk of Gold. This 3-year-old colt by Preservationist. Ethan West trains. Jareth Loveberry gets the mount. Blinkers on today for the first time. He ran most recently in the Ohio Derby at Thistle, a mile and the eighth on the 21st of June, and he finished second by 2 lengths that day. He sat back early. He was a little bit wide, but he was gaining some ground behind Mo Plex, who won it on the front end. But this horse, he ran his heart out that day. Getting blinkers on, maybe being a little bit more forwardly paced, which I don't think should be half bad. I think he could find a trip to win. I thought his Derby race, he outran his 29-1 odds that day in the Kentucky Derby, a mile and a quarter on the 3rd of May. I liked him a bit that day. He finished ninth by 15 1/4 lengths that day. He got good position that day, and a bit of a trouble trip early. Also was a little bit wide, but he just got beat by slightly better horse on the day. But he showed his own out that day. Not a bad race in defeat. And then prior to that, Louisiana Derby at Fairgrounds over in the mile 30 16s, finished second by 1 1/4 lengths. Tistastic came home clear. He was very wide, but he was gaining a lot of ground that day. And then another wide trip in the Risen Star, but again outran his 43-1 odds that day behind Magnitude. That was a great exactly, you had a Magnitude with a Chunk of Gold. And then he had a very nice place in Leonidas at Turfway over the mile in the Tapeta back in January. He's training quite nicely at Turfway since his most recent races. Coming here today over a longer trip, which he's bred for through and through. I think he's sitting on a good run. I think the 5 horse McAfee for it's going to be not Esquivel's. It will not be riding to this one. It's actually going to be John Velazquez that's going to take over the mount now. I think he could find a trip to win also. He ran most recently in the Ohio Derby where he finished third by 4 lengths that day, where he was just a little bit flat. He just kind of stalked without getting anywhere late. Prior to that in the Peter Pan, he finished second by 3/4 length, where he got one lane by Hill Road, but he didn't go down without a fight. I thought he showed potential there. And then in the Wood Memorial, he finished fifth by 8 lengths that day, and he just never really got going from the back of the pack that day. But if you look at some of his races, he broke his first 2 races at Church weren't bad at all. His last 2 races against some tough competition weren't bad at all. I think he'll see a bit of a pace to close up into. A 3-1, let's use him. And even the 2 horse East Avenue for Brendan Walsh and Luis Saez won the Mount win quite impressively in the front end. In the Derby, he just couldn't get there late, but his place in the bluegrass wasn't bad at all. If the East Avenue shows up like the East Avenue that ran early on last year shows up, he might win this race by a mile. But he's been a little bit inconsistent at times so far this season. But it's going to be a very good race here. So I can't wait for it. But to recap my select for the eighth for Mountaineer, it's the West Virginia Derby. We're going to take the 4 horse Chunk of Gold. Give kudos to the 5 horse McAfee and the 2 horse East Avenue. 4-5-2-8 Super, 4-5-2 in the multi race. So go back to all, and please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kit 5. Good luck, everybody.